Hello again. So now we're going to see the second part of the topic, populating the earth. Let me share my screen with you so we can start. And this is the second video. There is still one more to go. And here we go, guys. So this is populating the earth, part 2. And we're going to see adapting to various environments. As modern humans migrated, they settled in a variety of environments or surroundings. Each new place had its own climate, plants, and animals. With each move, people had to adapt or change their way of life to suit their new environment. They had to find out which plants could be eaten. They had to learn to hunt different animals and to find new materials for tools and shelters. So they really had to adapt to a whole series of new lifestyles due to the environments and surroundings. So adapting to the environment, one of the things, the many things they have to do, early humans lived in family groups. They adapted to their environments, but making or finding shelters, gathering food, and hunting big animals for food and clothing. And they had to learn to adapt and increase their chances of survival. Only adaptation increases the chances of survival. And that's something we have been talking about in these times that we're living in, that only adaptation is the way to survival. Now let's talk about a change in climate. Over time, people also have to adapt to changes in the world's climate. During the past 2 million years, including most of the Stone Age, the Earth has experienced 4 long ice ages. The largest ice age began about 70,000 years ago, soon after modern humans appeared. During the last ice age, thick sheets of ice called glaciers spread across ice age regions of the Earth. The glaciers covered the northern parts of Europe, Asia, and North America. Parts of the southern hemisphere were also under ice. Moving glaciers created most of the world's mountains, lakes, and rivers, as you can see in the picture over here. With so much of Earth's water frozen in glaciers, rainfall decreased. Areas that had once been well-watered grasslands became deserts. Sea levels dropped, exposing land bridges where ocean waters had once been. Because of these changes, many animals had to migrate to find food. The people who depended on those animals for food had little choice but to follow the herd. So the people had to follow the animals if they had any chances of survival, because that's what they fed on. And that's what they used for dressing and for making shelters, as we are going to see right now. So for staying warm, Ice Age hunter-gatherers adapted to climate change in many ways. As winter grew longer, people learned to use whatever materials they could find to build warm shelters. In Eastern Europe, for example, people built homes out of mammoth bones. Mammoths were huge furry animals related to animals that lived during the Ice Age. To keep out the winter wind and snow, hunters covered these huts with animal skins. So look at this picture, how the huts are built with the mammoth bones. Here you can see the big teeth right here and all the bones and all the animal skins to build the shelters. So they were very clever in knowing how to build the shelters to cover against the very, very harsh cold weather that they were experiencing. People also found other ways to stay warm. Using bone needles, they sewed snug clothing from animal skins and furs. They kept fires burning in their hearts day and night. You can see here how they learned how to sew and make clothes out of the animal skins to keep warm, and how they always kept the fire burning inside their huts to keep the warmth inside. Forming larger communities. Some groups adapted to change by forming larger communities. In large groups, hunters could work together to kill animals such as mammoths. They could also better defend their communities from attack by other nomadic groups. So always working in a community, working in a group makes life a lot easier. And this is what the early people had to do. They had to form larger communities to support each other and make life a lot easier because the conditions that they were living in were very, very harsh. Growing communities might be organized into clans or groups of families with a common ancestor. A clan would be made up of perhaps 2 to 50 people. Clan leaders took on decision-making roles such as organizing hunts. Everywhere human society developed, networks of clans or families played a vital role in creating strong communities. So in time, the Stone Age communities began to trade with one another for special stones or shells. So this became sort of like the money, interchanging stones and shells. They likely also traded information about finding food during the hard times. So the community work was what helped them survive. That's why it's so important not to stay isolated and always be in a community to support each other because it always makes life a lot easier. And the early people discovered this early on that living in communities will make their lives a lot easier, especially during the hard times in the Ice Age. Okay, so this is part 2 of the early people. I will see you next time for part 3. Have a good day, guys.